Welcome back to the POV. I'm Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go. And we're going to talk about all these layoffs that's happening. Actually, what I want to talk about is there's a story that I hold near and dear to my heart. And it's called Who Moved the Cheese? And basically, this story I feel relates great to all of these videos that's coming out where everybody's talking about being laid off or they just got laid off. I think we're moving into a state or phase to where everything is getting reverted back to skill sets. We're no longer in a society to where the basic, cashier, like those type of jobs are going to be around much longer. You're going to be forced to have a skill. Okay, plumber, roofer, mechanic, something like that. Like you're going to be forced to have a skill. And I think what happens is we fall into a level of comfortability and think that the type of job that you have will always and forever be around, that it cannot be replaced, or that it never will be replaced, or whatever state of mind that you think, that you're always thinking that that security is always going to be there. That may not always be the case, and you have to be willing to pivot when you see and or recognize that you possibly could be in a dead-end job, or you're not able to move up in that job, or you're starting to see a whole bunch of people getting let go. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of telltales that tell you that it's time to go. Okay, and a lot of us get comfortable and just sit and wait. We cross that bridge when we get to it. I can't stand that. Why do you have to wait to cross the bridge where you could just go build a bridge? So enough talking. Let's go ahead and get into this story. I really, really hope YouTube does not flag this video. It does have music and all that in it, but it is for educational purposes, fair use, but YouTube is YouTube. So we'll see how it go.
Cheese, why is it gone? Gonna get Who moved my cheese? Where is it? Who moved my cheese? Why is it gone?
Once long ago, in a land far away, there were four little characters that lived in a maze.
Two were mice named Sniff and Scurry.
And two were little people, the size of mice. Their names were Hem and Haw.
As different as the
And so for anybody, that may be of age, if you ever heard the term stop hemming and hawing around, that's where that term came from. It came from this story.
mice and little people they shared one thing in common. Each morning, they put on their running shoes and raced into the maze to look for their favorite cheese. Cheese being whatever was most important to them, what nourished them and made them happy.
For Sniff and Scurry, cheese was just cheese. But for Hem and Haw, cheese was more than just having something to eat. Finding it was a way of getting what they thought they needed. To them, cheese represented having security, or good health, or material things, or whatever they believed would make them happy.
For Haw, cheese meant living in a beautiful cottage with a loving family on Cheddar Lane.
To Hem, cheese meant being a big cheese, owning a mansion atop Camembert Hill. Sniff and Scurry had good instincts. Sniff would smell out the general direction of the cheese, and Scurry would race ahead.
But Hem and Haw had complex brains with beliefs and emotions that made finding their way in the maze more complicated and challenging. Rather than trusting their instincts, they relied on guidebooks and maps to help find their way in the maze.
In their own way, all four characters discovered what they were looking for. Eventually, each one arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered their own special cheese.
Sniff and Scurry woke early.
And let's talk about, Sniff and Scurry, how Sniff, he has the special nose and all that can smell his way through the maze and try to help them navigate. We can conflate that or relate that to other people in life that were born in a particular situation that puts them ahead of other people. They got other things that can propel them or catapult them ahead of the herd. So, there's few little tidbits in this story that actually relate to reality today. All right, so make sure you're paying attention.
Early every day and ran the same route through the maze to Cheese Station C.
However, Hem and Haw woke later each day and strolled slowly over to Cheese Station C. After all, they knew where the cheese was and how to get there, and they assumed it would always be there.
See, that's that comfortability we talking about. They think that cheese is always going to be there. You think that job is always going to be there. They getting comfortable. They waking up later in the day. We get there when we get there. I showed up, so what if I need to be there at 9 a.m.? I clocked in at 9:05. They should be happy I showed up. But that type of attitude is what's going to get your cheese gone.
This is fabulous. I'm so happy. There's enough cheese here to last us forever.
Hem and Haw put away their running shoes, thinking they wouldn't need them anymore.
They felt very secure in their familiar surroundings. Haw even decorated the walls with sayings.
Having cheese makes you happy.
Hem and Haw became very comfortable in Cheese Station C. They were not paying attention to what was happening around them.
Meanwhile, Sniff and Scurry inspected the area each morning. They noticed the changes that were taking place. They kept their running shoes around their necks so they could get to them quickly whenever they needed them again.
One morning, Sniff and Scurry arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They were not caught by surprise, since they noticed the supply of cheese had been getting older and smaller. The mice did not overanalyze or complicate things. The situation had changed, so Sniff and Scurry changed. They were soon off and
My bad, I was muted that whole time. So what I was basically saying was Sniff and Scurry peeped game and understood what was going on. They always kept their running shoes around their neck, so they was ready to pounce at any instant. They was ready to roll out, move out. Okay. You saw Scurry, he had the measuring tape, measuring how big the cheese was and see it getting smaller. Okay. They were already in the know and was ready to move on once this pile emptied out. Now, once him and Haw show up, we gonna see their reaction. As you can see, the cheese situation changed, so Scurry and Sniff change. Okay, you can relate that to, okay, this job is no longer available, this position is no longer available, this occupation period, it's no longer available. So I'm going to learn a new skill that's going to make sure that I keep food on the table, my car note paid, and whatever pays the bills. Okay? That level of comfortability, this is what I do. I went to school to get this degree. I spent all this time. Okay, well, that job no longer is needed. Go get another one.
In search of new cheese.
Later that day, Hem and Haw arrive and are startled at the sight of an empty Cheese Station C.
What? No cheese? Who moved my cheese? It's not fair.
What'll happen if the cheese isn't here tomorrow? All my plans are based on the cheese being here.
Hem's and Haw's behavior was not very attractive and kept them from succeeding, but it was understandable. Finding cheese wasn't easy.
Ain't nothing about that understandable. Yes, you're correct. Finding cheese isn't easy. But it is what it is. It's not there. Move on. You want to mope and groan and cry and hope and wish and pray and you do all these things. The cheese is not finna return. It's gone. Move on and find some new cheese. Find a new job. Find a new occupation. Find a new skill.
Easy. And it meant a great deal more to them than just having enough of it to eat every day.
While Sniff and Scurry had changed, Hem and Haw continued to, well, hem and haw.
Hem? Where's Sniff and Scurry? Do you think they know something we don't?
Nah, they're just simple mice. We're little people. We're more complex and smarter. We're entitled to our cheese.
We don't seem to be acting smarter at the moment. Sniff and Scurry are probably in the maze looking for new cheese. Maybe we should simply get going and look for some new cheese, too.
No, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I want things to be just the way they were.
Meanwhile, Snip and Scurry moved further into the maze. They didn't think.
Meanwhile, his stomach is growling louder and louder. He's growing hungrier and hungrier because he wants things to be the way it was. This is a lot of y'all in reality. You lost that job and then the whole entire world just comes shattering down versus you pulling yourself up, getting your mind right, and get back in the game and do what you need to do. A lot of y'all literally just shut down because the cheese moved. And you're refusing to do what you need to do to capture the cheese.
Think of anything else but finding new cheese.
After looking in parts of the maze where they had never been before, Snip and Scurry found the biggest store of cheese they had ever seen.
Meanwhile, Hem and Haw were still trying to figure out what was happening.
Then Haw began to imagine himself out in the maze, finding fresh new cheese. Before long, he could almost taste it.
Come on, Hem, let's go. We've got to change and enjoy something better.
No way. It might be dangerous out there in the maze. I like it here. I'm comfortable. You'll see. Someday things will be just the way they were.
You need to remove people like that out of your life. People like that will be the reason you never become successful. People like that will be the reason that you never achieve what you need to achieve because they're dead weight. They're comfortable. You don't want to be around nobody that lives in a level of comfortability. You won't achieve anything. They do a lot of talking, do a lot of wishing, and do nothing. Stay away from people like that.
Like him, Haw focused on what he was losing. His vision of finding new cheese and gaining something better faded.
So every day, Hem and Haw went from their homes to cheeseless Station C and returned home again with empty bellies, full of nothing but stress. They tried to deny the change that had happened, but found it more and more difficult. Their homes were not the nurturing places they once were.
You know, if we just try harder, maybe we'll discover the cheese is still here.
So Hem and Haw worked longer hours, but still they did not find their cheese. Haw was beginning to realize how hard they were working without success.
Then Haw lived up to his name.
Look at us.
What are you laughing at? They moved our cheese and you think this is funny?
Oh, Ham, we keep doing the same things over and over again, and we wonder why things don't get better. Now that's funny.
Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese?
Ham, it's time for us to find something better.
You're not really going out into the maze again, are you? Why don't we just wait here until they put the cheese back?
They're never going to put the cheese back. That was yesterday's cheese. It's time for us to find some new cheese. Now, where did we put our running shoes?
What if there's no cheese out there? Or what if you can't find it? Or
Well, I don't know, Ham. But imagine how...
Serious, stay away from people like that. The what if this? What if that? How come this? How come that? The negative Nancy's, the always this can't happen because of this, and that always happened because of that, and we can't get nowhere because of this, and insert whatever issue, insert whatever negative connotation you want to add here. There's always a negative excuse as to why something cannot work, as to why we cannot do this, as to why we should not proceed with this, as to you can do it, I got you, I support you, bro. You know, from a distance. That's what you want to do. You clearly see something different needs to occur. You see it. All that time that they put in trying to chisel through a wall, they could have been out in the maze and probably already found the cheese by then.
How much we would enjoy some new cheese.
No, I don't want to go into the maze.
Well, I don't either. But let's face it, if we don't change, we could become extinct.
Extinct? Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese? Who?
Then Ha wrote on the wall what he had been thinking about for some time.
What would you do if you weren't afraid? It's maze time. Time for new cheese.
Then Ha jogged into the unknown. He soon realized the unexpected can happen.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark.
Those are those L's that come along when you starting to climb the ladder, when you starting to make moves. That's an L right there, but that's okay. You see how he just popped up? Watch what he do.
Ha picked himself up and got back on course.
See there? He got himself up, got back on course. Now, because of that first L, now his eyes are more open. Now he's actually paying attention to where he's stepping. Stepping with a purpose now.
Being back in the maze isn't nearly as bad as I feared. How did I get into that situation at Cheese Station C? I should have followed my instincts and changed a lot sooner. If I'd been watching what was happening... Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. Why?
Pay attention in the workplace when you see drastic changes happening. You starting to see a lot of top level managers and all that starting to get laid off. That slowly is gonna start trickling down. A lot of employees starting to get laid off, and severance packages are starting to get thrown around, or they starting to do stuff. They'll do stuff or start being more demanding or whatever, basically trying to force you out, trying to force you to self-quit. Pay attention.
do I feel so good? I don't have any cheese, and I don't know where it is. When you stop being afraid, you feel good.
I feel so good, so very good.
I'm not afraid anymore.
The more clearly Ha imagined himself finding new cheese and enjoying it, the more real it became, in his mind and his heart, and the more it made good sense to him.
Imagining myself enjoying my new cheese even before I find it leads me to it.
Finally, Ha arrived at large cheese station E, but he found it was practically empty.
No matter how hard I try. Oh, I guess I'm just too late. if only I had changed sooner. I don't.
Just showing up to the late party. Showing up to the party late. Showing up to the party late. Not pivoting soon enough. Not taking advantage of opportunities. Not having the money readily available to jump on an opportunity when it arrives. That's what that is. That's what that is. You showed up too late. Everybody done already got the best of the best out of it already. It's gone. You can eat a little bit, but you have to push on immediately to the next thing.
I found a lot of new cheese here.
Ha did find several delicious morsels of cheese. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep him going.
I've got to go back to him and let him know there's some new cheese out here.
Ha followed his handwriting on the wall, back to cheese station C.
Oh, Ham, you look terrible. Here, have a few bits of new cheese I found in the maze.
No, I don't think I would like new cheese. I want my own cheese back.
Bitter. Bitter. You left me. You see all these holes that I tried to drill around here, that I chiseled around here? You left me by myself to do this work. We don't need new cheese. We had cheese right here. Holding you down, keeping you from trying to prosper. Stay away from people like that, man.
I want things to be the way they were.
It's safer to search in the maze, Ham, than remain in a cheeseless situation.
Ha now knew that his friend Ham's negative thoughts robbed him of his confidence. Ha remembered how good he felt when he was away from such thinking while searching for new cheese in the maze.
Will he ever change? I guess Ham believes he can't or won't enjoy new cheese.
Ha had changed his own beliefs. He knew that change wasn't always good or necessary. Ha used to believe that his cheese should never be moved and that sudden change wasn't right. Now he realized that most change didn't happen all of a sudden and that it could lead to something better. He now knew it was good to go into the maze to find new cheese.
When you change what you believe, you change what you do.
Ha found bits of cheese here and there. He hoped that Hem might see the need for change and find his way through the maze by reading the handwriting on the wall and follow the markings Ha left for him. He kept hoping his good friend would change.
Now Ha had let go of the past and was adapting to the present. He was pursuing his sensible vision, seeing himself finding new cheese. And then, one day it happened.
Piled high everywhere was the largest and most delicious-looking supply of new cheese Ha had ever imagined.
Wow! New cheese! Is it real or just my imagination?
Hey, it is real. New cheese was out here all the time,
Just waiting for somebody to find it.
As Ha enjoyed his new cheese, he reflected on what he had learned from his journey through the maze. He wrote on the wall of Cheese Station N,
Change happens. They keep moving the cheese. Anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. Adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. Enjoy change. Savor the adventure and enjoy the taste of new cheese. Be ready to quickly change and enjoy it again. They keep moving the cheese. Change and win. Move with the cheese. I wonder if Ham will ever read the handwriting on the wall. Will he ever change and win?
Han knew it would be easy for him to slip back to his old ways if he got too comfortable.
See that? Now he's actually taking inventory and paying very close attention to the cheese. I would even take it as far as to start looking for another station as well. So when this pile is gone, we already have record of where the other station is for the cheese. That's how you stay adaptable. That's how you stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
So each day he inspected Cheese Station N to check the condition of his cheese. He went out into the maze and explored new areas. He knew it was smarter to be aware of what was going on around him rather than to isolate himself in his comfort zone. Then Ha heard a sound of movement out in the maze. Could it be him? Ha hoped, as he had many times before, that his friend was finally able to
Move to the new cheese and enjoy it.
So I really hope that you guys learned something from that. One really big takeaway that I want you guys to take note of: you can't bring everybody with you. Everybody isn't meant to go on your journey. Everybody isn't meant to go out there and hustle and get it with you. They just not. It's not their journey. It's not their dream. It's not their opportunity. It's nothing for them. They are him. And not him as in the guy. Him as in that individual that refused to grow, refused to adapt, refused to accept change, refused to leave the comfort zone, refused to develop a new skill, refused to do the necessary steps that is needed to put himself in a better position so that he will always have the cheese and be ready to move when the cheese move. Okay, right now we're entering an era where AI is taking over. Is it going to completely obliterate jobs? No. I mean, physical work is definitely going to be around for a while, but it will behoove you to start learning cybersecurity and robotics, engineering, like all those type of stuff. Short on doctors and nurses and all that. Start learning that stuff. You need to get out of the basic retail, you know what I'm saying, grocery store, clothing store. Like, that's fine, but there's nothing stopping somebody from just doing some basic shopping online. They can buy the shirt online. They can buy the pair of pants online. They can buy the socks and drawers online. They can buy the shoes online. I did 100% of all of my Christmas shopping online. just recently got a new car online. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's time for you guys to really understand uh computers, networking, coding, engineering, cybersecurity, like all of that anything and everything that's in the computing world, networking world, that I feel like is where you need to be. Anything dealing with electricity, we're becoming more electrified, fiber, you know, those type of jobs. I think that's where the cheese is moving. I see that's where the cheese is moving. Electricity, I've seen projects, actually the projects are going on right now around me where they're tearing down all the old power towers and putting in brand new towers, putting in brand new cables, brand new transformers. Like they're updating. So that's where a lot of the work is. That's where a lot of the skill sets that you need to hone, that's where it should be. That's where it needs to go. You need to start developing a real skill. You need to get back into the classroom. You need to get back into the books. You need to get back into the math, whatever it takes for you to be successful. Because right now, we are getting back into that state of where if you don't have a skill, if you don't come with an actual skill that is useful to society, you won't eat. You won't eat. That's just the end of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I thought that it was extremely relatable to what's going on right now. Like I said, I see video after video after video after video of people talking about getting laid off. My job just laid me off. I showed up to work one day and the doors were just chained up. And it just goes on and on and on. But I think you guys really, really need to start taking life serious, your life serious, and start developing a real skill, a real useful skill that society needs. And you'll be all right. And don't be afraid to jump into something else. If there is no longer, if you starting to see there's no longer a need for that thing, or you slowly start to see it dwindle down, just like the cell phone repair industry, the computer repair industry, it's not as lucrative. It's not as, doesn't really make sense now. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to get parts. It's harder to get the OEM parts now. In most cases, you're completely locked out of trying to get parts. So when you starting to see shifts like that, where you're getting locked out, or they're making it harder to get parts, or they're just not stocking parts, they just make the product and once it goes, that's it. They're not providing that level of support that they used to do back in the day. Get out of it. There's no money there. There's no money in the repair no more, because they're not supporting the products like that no more. You know, they make a laptop, and that laptop is literally obsolete the second they actually produce it, because they already made the next model to it. They'll release all 3 models of that same laptop, and model 1 and 2 is obsolete because model 3 got released at the same time. So stuff like that. You got to think about stuff like that. But like I said, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I hope it made sense. I tried to break it down as digestible as I could. And I hope that you got something from it, especially at the end where he actually recapped and gave you guys everything that he learned through his journey. Midas, make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.